Happy Friday, y'all, in Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube world. Super excited to be with you as we're going to have a little bit of fun on this Friday. Hi, my name is Tiffanie Kellog. I am your hostess today, and I am joined by Shawn Yesner. Say hi, Shawn.
Hi, Shawn.
Yeah, super excited to have Shawn Yesner with us today as we're going to talk a little bit about some Friday fun. Now, this is the first one we're doing, so who knows what's going to happen, including me and Shawn. But I figure since we're here to talk about fun, I want to ask Shawn, what's one fun thing that you like to do on Fridays?
Only one. I'm only allowed to say
No, we're
one fun
starting the
thing.
conversation with one fun thing
Okay,
on
so
Friday that you typically like to do on Fridays. We're going to talk about other stuff too.
yeah, so one of the fun things I like to do on Friday is I've set up my schedule where I go to my networking meeting in the morning, my BNI networking meeting in the morning. Interact with all my referral partners first thing in the morning. I come into the office. I record an episode of my podcast for the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks ahead. I work for a little bit. I like to do this kind of stuff, and then I am done. So Thursdays are really my Fridays because Fridays I'm really only in the office doing business building stuff, and then the afternoon is mine.
And what do you typically like to do in the afternoon on these Fridays is a question I have. And then the
Yeah.
second question I have is how are you able to create that? Because I'm sure there's some people watching this that are like, yeah, that sounds good, but there's no way I could, take halfway through the day on Friday. So I don't know which one you want to address first.
So I'll address first the what. So this particular Friday, there are a group of us in that networking group that this is what the last Friday of the month. The last Friday of the month, we all get together for lunch, which typically leads to bourbon and cigars. So that's what I intend to do this afternoon. Um, in terms of how I got here, it's an interesting question. I don't know that I have a really good answer other than it was intentional. So, I said to myself, I'm going to work during the week so that I can have Fridays off. So maybe I'll start a little bit earlier in the morning, Monday to Thursday. Maybe I'll work a little bit later in the afternoon, Monday to Thursday. It's a function of letting the clients know that afternoon on Friday I'm not available. In fact, I think the first thing that I did was I said no appointments on Friday. So the way that Fridays for me started was I was going to reserve Fridays just to do client work and to do administrative work for the law firm that I had made it known intentionally to the clients that I was not available for appointments on Friday. And then once I got that schedule sort of in place, it was easier to then say, okay, well, now I'm getting more efficient at doing the admin work so I can get it done faster, or I can do the admin from home, logged in remote to the office. I don't have to be sitting in the office. And so that was really how it started. Was I just said, let's take Fridays just for admin work and client work only. Let the clients know I'm not available for appointments on Friday, and then that led to where I am today.
Nice, nice. Now, I think you're growing your team actually, though. You've got some people coming in to help you do some of that, aren't you?
I do. So I do have an associate attorney who's been with me for a long time. I just hired another attorney who's going to come in on a what we call an of counsel
Mm.
capacity, basically a 1099. She's going to come in and help with specific projects. But I've already told her my intention is to make her so busy and be able to funnel her so much work that she wants to come on board the law firm full time as an associate attorney. So that's I've got her coming on board, and then now to support three attorneys, or call it one attorney and two half attorneys. I've got two new legal assistants coming on board. One who starts Monday, and another is on vacation. I knew she was going to be on vacation when I interviewed her, so when she gets back, I'll talk to her. But I'm pretty confident she'll be starting when she gets back from vacation. So yeah, we'll be a law firm of five, and I intend to continue to grow from there.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's nice to be able to get the work done without having to do the work, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. That is how the business owners make the money, is you get
Yeah.
other people to do the work. And I always struggle with, I love being an attorney. So I love being in court. I love arguing. I had my first situation. I was taking a client's or an opponent's deposition on Wednesday. So I'm representing the defendant and I'm taking the deposition of the plaintiff. And you always hear all these crazy stories about what happens in depositions. And there's a scenario in which you can instantly call the judge on the phone and say, "Hey judge, we're having this issue in the deposition. We need a ruling right away." 26 years of practice. It had never happened to me before until Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
And so we had to stop the deposition. We had to get a hold of the judge. I had to get the judge on a conference call, an emergency basis. I had to argue immediately off the top of my head. And I won. I won the I guess mini motion with the judge, got what I wanted, and the deposition continued. So it was the first time that had ever happened to me. So that was, and I won. If I had lost, I might not be telling this story. But that was fun.
Well, it's nice to hear that after, 26 years, things are still keeping you on your toes. And y'all, we are here Friday Fun with Shawn Yesner. And if you're wondering, because we jumped straight into the fun, because hey, fun is what it's about on Fridays. Shawn Yesner is the owner of Yesner Law. So do you want to tell us what kind of firm it is that you have? What are the things that you do in your business?
Yeah, no, thank you. So, and I said before, I struggle with being an attorney on one hand and being the business owner on the other, and it's always trying to balance those two things. But Yesner Law, we're located here in Clearwater in Tampa Bay, Florida. We're located in Clearwater. I live in Tampa, and so we focus. I'm a podcast host that has trouble speaking right now. We focus mostly on helping people to get out of debt. I like to say all the time, we help people that want more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. So we help people. We do file bankruptcies. We do negotiate debts. We help people that maybe are being garnished, or maybe are having trouble paying their bills. Maybe bankruptcy is not necessary, but maybe there's another way that we can help them with their bills. So that's one half of the law firm. The other half of the law firm is real estate related. So people that have real estate issues, and it's everything from, I got an email this morning that, I want to leave this property to my kids. So I need to create a deed that when something happens to me, the property will automatically go to the kids. And from that all the way up to, I've got a client that's wanting to argue over where the fence is on their property. I've got clients that are arguing over, my ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend owns this property with me. We can't get divorced because we were never married, but we're having a dispute over the property. All those different types. The only things I don't do in real estate law are closings. I refer those out. It's easier to work with the title companies than to compete against them. And land use and zoning, and that I don't do that kind of stuff. But everything else that touches real estate law, I can help with. And then on the other side, the bankruptcy, the debt, all that stuff. I am only licensed in Florida, so I can only practice within the borders of the state of Florida. But I try to limit the footprint of the law firm to the bankruptcy court footprint, which is Manatee, Sarasota, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Tampa, St. Pete, Pasco, and Polk County. Pasco is Newport Richey, Polk County is Lakeland, and some of those cities. So that's the footprint. I try to limit the law firm, but I have some stray cases pretty much all over the state of Florida.
I'm guessing if somebody asked you to do a case in Tallahassee, that it might be a good excuse for you to go to Tallahassee. And since we're, here about fun, this is the next fun thing that I want to bring in. Why would Tallahassee be fun?
I never need an excuse to go to Tallahassee. Never, ever, ever need an excuse. And your husband is welcome to come with me anytime he wants to. No, I graduated from Florida State in 1994 with a degree in accounting, and then went from there to law school. I didn't go to law school at FSU. I went to law school in Birmingham, Alabama. And actually, it's funny. I was interviewing a podcast guest this morning, as a matter of fact, just prior to this live, and When she heard that I went to law school in Birmingham, she immediately pinned me down in Auburn or Alabama because she was an Alabama fan.
Oh,
So, but yeah, college football practices. FSU had its first practice. I assume most of the schools in the country are gearing up yesterday
mm.
or Wednesday, I think, was the first practice. So, yeah, I went to Florida State undergrad. I love Florida State. I love all the different sports teams. And to be fair, I also support the College of Business where I graduated. I also support the Alumni Association. I also support the academic programs. But, if an FSU game happens to be on TV, I'm probably going to be in front watching it, whether it's women's soccer, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, softball, football. It won't matter. I'll be there wearing my garnet and gold, cheering for FSU. My family also lives up there. My sister followed me to Tallahassee. She graduated from FSU. When my dad retired, my mom and dad moved up to Tallahassee. So we get up there we're quite often, and I can shoot up the Veterans Expressway, so I don't even have to go through that city that name begins with a G.
Yeah, where the University of Florida is. Funny
That
story,
other,
and then we need to talk a little bit about the band because I don't think you mentioned that. One time
yeah,
for Christmas one year, my sister, trying really hard to get my husband a great present, got her some golf balls. Florida Gators, not Florida State.
those would be my water balls. Those
And
would
what's
be
funny is she ended up marrying a guy from Virginia. So she totally gets the whole Virginia State thing. She didn't at the time. Now she gets the Florida State thing. But yeah, water balls definitely. I think
somebody
he
did.
regifted them.
I was at a white elephant party, Christmas
Mm.
party, exchanging white elephant gifts, and what I ended up with, I could not trade it away, was one of those blocks, like I don't know if you recognize
Oh
this
my
one.
gosh, that's like 10 years old.
Yeah. So it was one like this. It was obviously much bigger, but it was all Florida Gators, and it got late enough at night that we started a bonfire. I threw it in the bonfire.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, one other thing I wanted to chat about FSU because you were in the band and you still do some playing a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I have been playing drums since I was 10. So everything, concert band, orchestra, a jazz band. And then I discovered marching band. And as a drummer who discovers marching band, I was hooked. And so, yeah, I've been playing drums since I was 10. So that is, gosh, I don't even want to tell you how long it is. So I've been playing for over 40 years now. Um, and so one thing that I am super excited about, Florida State has, the different alumni clubs in every city. Tampa happens to have a pretty large alumni club, and the Tampa Alumni Club has their preseason kickoff party out in Ybor City.
Mm.
And a few years ago, the director of the band alumni, the FSU marching band, the Marching Chiefs alumni director, said, "Hey, the Tampa Knowles have reached out to Florida State to say, can we get some alumni to come back and play school songs for our preseason kickoff party?" So they reached out to all the area alumni, and we all said yes. And so this year on August 10th is the preseason kickoff party in Ybor, and so I'll be out there playing a drum. It'll be my fourth or fifth or sixth, I can't even remember. And so I get together with all the guys that I marched with, and even some of the guys that came after me, some of the guys that came before me, some of the guys that were in other sections of the band. So it's like a mini homecoming reunion to go out there, and then when we're done, we get the run of Ybor, which that's the other common theme in my life is bourbon and cigars. So after we're done playing some songs for the alumni, we'll head out to Ybor and have some more fun out there. But yeah, I've been doing it every year. I also did just recently make some changes at my house, and so I moved my dresser to another corner of my bedroom, and I set up my drum set. So I can now practice and play and shake off the dust and let the kids play on it and get out aggression. And so yeah, I love playing my drums.
So you got two boys. What are their
Right.
names and how old are they?
So
And do they like the
Tyler
drums?
Well, Tyler is my older boy. He will be 11 in October. He is preparing for his bar mitzvah right now. So
Oh.
I've got a bar mitzvah coming up in about 2.5 months.
Mm.
He's the older one. He's into sports. So he plays a lot of soccer. He's on a competitive travel soccer club here in Tampa. He's with Tampa Bay United. And so I got to be soccer coach for a few years while he was in the recreational league. And I do not have an athletic bone in my body. So I have no idea how, other than I was just the one that the guy that volunteered to be the soccer coach. But I loved coaching him. And my thought process is I'm going to be there.
I
So
was
I
gonna say,
might
you
as
know what?
well.
I think I remember when you first were like, "I'm going to be a soccer coach," and I was like, "Do you know anything about soccer?" And you're like, "No."
No, I got YouTube though. But so I figure I'm going to be there. Why not be in the middle of the action?
Yeah.
Why go just to sit in a chair and watch? So I coached him in rec, and then when he got the skills to go up the level to the competitive, then I decided, okay, I'm just going to be soccer. Actually, I was the team mom for a little bit, and then I said, no, I'm just going to be team dad, or I'm just going to be dad and sit here and watch. That's my older one. My younger one is 10, and he's got more of the musician in him than the older one. He's sat down at my drum set a few times and tried to bang away at it, and so I'm trying to teach him. But the big thing I do with my younger one, he's a Cub Scout,
Mm.
so I'm in the Cub Scout, or he's in the Cub Scout troop, and I'm dad in the Cub Scout. So we get to go on all the camping trips, and we've been camping at SeaWorld, we've been camping at the
How,
Kennedy
wait,
Space Center.
how do you camp at SeaWorld? I want to hear about that. Like
So that
actually in the park?
Yeah, that was cool. We got access to the park. And then I don't know how familiar you are with SeaWorld, but you know, most of the aquariums have like the viewing area
Yeah.
where you've got the big tank in front of you, and it's got whatever. The where we were had dolphins, but it could be dolphins, it could be killer whales, it could be fish, it could be sharks, it could be, you know, whatever. Well, we camped out. I mean, we obviously didn't bring tents. All we brought were sleeping bags and whatnot.
Hmm.
Air mattresses actually was what I brought. But we set up the air mattresses in the viewing area.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're in the park, in SeaWorld, in the dolphin viewing area, sleeping with the dolphins swimming around right in front of us.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, that was really cool. When we went to Kennedy Space Center, they have an exhibit at Kennedy Space Center where they have a real life replica of, I want to say it's a Saturn V rocket, and it's life size replica. So it's this huge rocket laying on its side that stretches on for a football field. And we again, no tents, but we brought our sleeping bags and our air mattresses and whatnot, and we literally set up the air mattresses underneath the rocket. So we were sleeping with the rocket right over us. And actually, the day that we were there, the night that we spent the night there, I think one of the SpaceX launch. So we got to see the SpaceX launch from where we were sleeping. It was pretty cool.
It sounds like you've got some really amazing and fun stuff going on. Do you ever feel like it's hard to take care of business and have fun?
I so yes, I absolutely struggle with. Although I was able to, so you know, one of the other things I love doing, you know, is Disney World, and we just got back a week ago. We took a 1 week trip to Disney World. It was me, my two boys, my mom, my sister, my niece, and then another friend and his wife and kids. All went to Disney World for the week. My mom has a timeshare there, so I didn't have to pay for hotels and all that stuff. So we went over to Disney World. I will admit I brought my computer, but I will also say I was lucky enough that I only really needed to fire it up one morning. I knocked out, you know, about an hour's worth of emails, and that was really the only time I looked at it. I did have my phone on me. My phone has all my emails on it, so if there was something super important, I could have knocked it out on my phone. The staff, you know, had access to call me, and I did get a couple of calls while I was away, knocked out a couple of projects, but largely it's just something you have to plan. I mean, you know, one of the things that I love about what we do working together is all the behavioral style, the room full of referrals, assessments, and all that stuff, and understanding all of that, and then incorporating that into how do I run my business. I run my life by my calendar.
Yeah.
And so everything's on the calendar. All the Cub Scout camp, I've already got the 2024-2025 school calendar, Hillsborough County school calendar on my calendar, my work calendar. So I can tell you when all the vacations are, when all the off days for school. I can tell you when all of that stuff is through the end of the 2025 school year. I've already got the FSU football game calendar on my calendar. I've got all the Cub Scout campouts and the pack meetings and the den meetings. What's driving me crazy is soccer starts up again in about a month. I don't have the soccer schedule yet. And it's driving me nuts because I can't put it on the calendar yet.
I get you. Sometimes I remember somebody was like, hey, can you do this thing in January? And it's like summertime. And I'm like, no, I'm booked. They're like, January. I'm like, yeah, I'm booked. I'm like, I've got stuff that's already booked for 2026.
Wow.
Like, that's not a lot, but there are some things like if it's important, we can get it in the calendar early. So yeah, I get you on living in the calendar.
I'll tell you that the temple made us schedule Tyler's bar mitzvah 3 years in advance. So it is in October of this year, but we had to book it 2021. In January, I'm going to get an email from the temple to schedule the 10-year-old because he'll be 13 in 3 years. So in January, I'm going to get an email from the temple to schedule his. So in January, I will have a 2027 date on the calendar.
That's amazing. It's how it goes sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So I want to switch gears and talk for a minute about your podcast, because I know that you've been doing it for years. How long ago did you start your podcast?
It was 2015 that I started the podcast because I had some woman named Tiffanie that held me accountable to getting the podcast launched on time.
You know, it is dangerous to tell me, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, because I might say, and by when, and here you go, now there's a podcast.
In fact, if you go back and listen to the first, I think 5 episodes of the podcast, that is not my super sexy voice. That is me with laryngitis that had promised Tiffanie I would launch the show. And so I had to record regardless of what my voice sounded like.
And now we're on, what episode is it now? Like 400 or?
I recorded today, episode 428.
That's amazing and phenomenal. So you want to tell us what the podcast is all about?
Yeah. So the podcast is called Crushing Debt, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is, giving tips and tricks, and sometimes legal, sometimes not legal, on how to get out of debt, how to crush your debt. I do have a co-host, a guy that I met, I want to say 2.5 years ago. I know he's been with me for about 2 years on the show. His name is George Curvello. He's a financial coach. And so we seem to fit really well together. Him from the financial coach perspective, me from the legal perspective. And all of our episodes tend to be centered on how do I get out of debt? How can you help me get out of debt? I mean, every once in a while we'll do something fun, but they all are centered on how do I get out of debt? And that's what we talk about. And that's the podcast then led to a book called Crushing Debt. That book then led to a second book called Become Debt Free in Less Than an Hour, which my accountability partner, Tiffanie, may have had something to do with as well. And so, yeah, so all of that side of the law firm, the podcast, the books, all the legal work that I do is all geared towards helping people eliminate their debt.
Nice. And so speaking of the second book, what was the name of the second book again?
It's Become Debt Free in Less Than 1 Hour. All
right. Now, we don't actually get debt free in an hour, right? There's a little bit more to it than that.
You got to read the book.
Okay, all right.
No, so no, the intent of the book is not that you're going to read it and an hour later you're going to be debt free. The intent of the book is that the the tips and the tricks and the strategies and the philosophies and the accountability that's contained within the book will take less than an hour. Each of the ideas will take less than an hour to implement. And as those ideas accumulate, you will get yourself out of debt. So it's, and I won't give them all away, but it's, do you want to adjust?
You can give one. You can give one away.
Okay.
Because then I want to talk about our book club where we will give them all away.
Okay, we'll give them all away in the book club. So I got to figure out. So the first one of the very first ones that comes to mind every time I talk about it is people are super excited. Well, I guess excited is the wrong word. They file their tax returns and then they get this big refund. And so what that really is you overpaid your taxes during the year to the government.
Yeah.
And when the government gives it back, you don't get interest on it. So you've in essence given an interest-free loan to the government. So what I normally do is every year I look at my taxes and I want to get that refund or maybe sometimes that payment to within $100, $200, something like that. So either I'm going to get a refund of a couple of $100 or I'm going to pay a couple of $100. I'm going to get as close to zero as I possibly can. Because what that does is it doesn't give that money away to the government that they keep interest free for a year. And it gives me more money in my paycheck. I'm making the exact same salary as I was the last year, unless my boss decides to give me a raise. I'm making the exact same money as I did the year before, but I am taking home more because I'm withholding less taxes. And I was talking to George on the show about it this morning. My style is a saver. If I get a bunch of money, my first instinct is to save some of it. So I've set up my payroll system that a bigger chunk of money, if I get a raise or if I bring more take home or whatever, a bigger chunk of it goes into savings that I don't even see. So my brain says I have X amount of dollars to fund my monthly budget every month, and Y amount of dollars automatically goes into savings. I don't see it, I don't feel it, I don't touch it, I don't have access to it. And so if I'm able to get more cash flow in the month, I can use some of it to maybe, increase the lifestyle a little bit and then put a chunk of it in savings for the future. So that's the easiest idea rather than, I got $6,000 in a refund and now I'm going to spend it. Why not get, an extra $500 a month or even an extra $300 a month in your cash flow?
Yeah, my goal is always I want to just have to write the government a check for 3 figures. So as long as I keep it under $1,000, because I don't want them using my money interest free.
Right.
No, not everybody feels that way. So I do want to let y'all know that you're watching. We do have that's not the right one. Haha. So starting on August 21st, we are going to have our first author-led More Abundant Entrepreneurs community book club. And so my inspiration for this is sometimes you're reading books and you're like, I don't get what this is. I need more details. Can you clarify? Can you expand? And so we are going to be doing a couple of times a year, probably, author-led book clubs, where the author is going to be the one that's there with us, leading us in the conversation. And so we start in August. We're going to go for, I think it's like 8 weeks, maybe. We're going to talk about a couple of different techniques from the book, which you can get online. That is a free downloadable. And Shawn will put the link to that free downloadable in the private chat to me, and then I'll put it up on the screen in just a minute. In the meantime, though, you can go to moreabundantentrepreneurs.com/book club. This is where you can enroll in the book club. Now, if you're a More Abundant Entrepreneur community member, it's included. That's part of the membership, is being a part of these author-led book clubs. If you're not, it's a small investment. I think it's $49, and the link for that is also in the description wherever you're watching this video. We're going to be there. These will be recorded. You'll have access to the recordings. You'll have access to Shawn. So we're super excited about having him walk us through. What would you like to add about what we're going to be doing in this book club, Shawn?
Well, like you said, we'll be going through all the different tips, all the different tricks, all of that stuff that is in the book. And actually, I'm looking forward to it because it's been a couple of years, and I probably need to dust it off. And so I would love to get ideas from the people in the book club. What of the strategies that I've suggested um, are good? What could be refreshed? What could be added? What other strategies are out there? So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to in terms of hosting the book club is, how good do these things translate? Because I've always had the idea, one of the other things that I really love to do is read. I read a ton, but one of the things that I would love to do is the Crushing Debt book is relatively small. It's 100 some odd pages. Become Debt Free is a similar size. I would love to maybe combine those two books, and I'm almost afraid to tell you this because then you're going to hold me accountable to it. I would love to somehow combine those two books into a more substantial, 200 page, here's a roadmap to becoming debt free kind of book. So if I can get, some input from the people in the book club, that will help me to do that as well.
So if I'm hearing you, not only can you be part of this author-led book club, there's the potential for when the revised version comes out of the marriage of the two books, your story might be in there as well.
Yeah, I will change the names to protect the innocent. But yeah, absolutely. I'm totally open to that.
Awesome. So y'all can check out ShawnMYesner.com/become debt free. You can download the book. His second book is free, so you can go and get it, even if you don't be a part of the book club. But I will say this, y'all. I get so much more out of the books that I read when I read them in community as a group where we're talking about it. We typically do a little WhatsApp group, so we're talking about things as we go through the week. It is phenomenal. So I highly encourage you to join us for this author-led book club. It's not very often that you get to have the author right there to answer your questions. So we've been chatting for, like 30 minutes, like it ain't no thing, because we're just having fun on Friday. You can check out Shawn at yesnerlaw.com. Before we wrap up, because I know we didn't cover everything that you like to do for fun. We didn't cover everything. What else does the audience need to know about Shawn Yesner?
Wow.
No pressure or anything.
Well, I think we did we got lawyer, we got podcast host, we got soccer, we got Cub Scouts, we got FSU,
bourbon.
We got bourbon, we got cigars, we got drums.
We did not talk about the green egg.
You're right. We did not talk about the green egg. The other thing that I was thinking is we didn't talk about Bloody Marys, but your guests are going to get the very wrong impression of me, maybe. But yeah, no, I have a big green egg. I've had the big green egg, the barbecue smoker, cooker, whatever, for I don't even know, 8 years now, 7 years now, 8 years now. I'll do anything from just simple burgers and dogs. I've done chicken. I've smoked turkeys. I've smoked turkey meat. I've smoked pork. I do not keep kosher. So I've smoked, last week I smoked some pork loins, ribs. I love doing it all. I don't know that I am competition level, but I am good enough that the family loves it. I've done desserts on the green egg. I love it. I don't recall the last weekend that I was in town and did not cook on it. In fact, I think last week I was late getting home from work one night and I forgot to take anything out to thaw. So I just threw some burgers on and we had cheeseburgers for dinner. So, but yeah, it doesn't take much arm twisting to fire up the green egg and cook or smoke something.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Shawn, for being here, for sharing some business stuff, some getting out of debt stuff, some fun stuff. We have covered quite a bit in our 35-minute conversation today. And I'd love to hear from y'all as you're watching this recap in the comments. What did you love? What are you going to implement? How are you going to take some of Shawn's wisdom and implement it into your world and your life? Shawn, thank you so much for being here with us.